Hi there, welcome to the channel. Appreciate you joining us today. Well, it's official, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked as the manager of Manchester United. It's been coming for weeks, essentially, and it's something which is not a surprise to anybody. The performances this season have been substandard, to say the least, and I've been an advocate of keeping Solskjaer, but obviously the club have decided to pull the trigger. And it looks like the fans have also turned on him as well. So it's a sad day. As a Manchester United fan, it's a sad day. So we'll have a look at the official club statement. Manchester United announces that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has left his role as manager. Ole will always be a legend at Manchester United, and it is with great regret we have reached this difficult decision. Whilst the past few weeks have been disappointing, they should not obscure all the work that's been done over the past 3 years to rebuild the foundations of long-term success. Ole leaves with our sincerest thanks for his tireless work as manager and our very best wishes for the future. His place in the club's history will always be secure, not just for his story as a player, but as a great man and a manager who gave us many great moments. He will forever be welcome back at Old Trafford as part of the Manchester United family. Michael Carrick will now take charge of the team for the forthcoming games, whilst the club look to appoint an interim manager to the end of the season. So if you're in the chat box, please feel free to comment and ask any questions and interact. So the telling thing there is that United are looking to appoint someone to the end of the season. And actually, it makes rational sense that we have a situation where probably to get a long-term manager, you're going to have to wait till the end of the season. So the rumor is that Zidane potentially will come at the end of the season. But if he's out of work, it begs the question, why won't he come now? So someone said they're gutted for Ole. Yeah, me too. I'm gutted for him. He's a legend. Some of the treatment by the media has been disgusting, and actually some of our fans, some of their actual interaction has been disgusting as well. You should never boo a club legend. You should look at the fundamental reasons. Like in the summer, United needed to buy a midfield player or two midfield players, and they've paid for not doing that. Essentially, they bought Varane, but they've basically played without him due to injury. So not much has changed, really. So ultimately, it's, Ole's paid with his job. But if you look at when he took over, when Mourinho came, club was a mess. Players were low in confidence, and he brought back some amazing times. We finished second last season, got to quite a few semi-finals, got to the final of the Europa League, unlucky not to win that. And obviously, it's been a horrendous start to the season. It's not been a bad start. It's been horrendous. The performances have been unbelievably bad, and it looks like we've gone backwards. However, my personal view is that obviously he's carrying the can because the Glazers can't afford to not finish top four. And with each defeat, your chances of top four diminish. And obviously, the Champions League money is what their major concern is. And if you look at the prize money for finishing first, fourth, or fifth, basically very little difference. But the difference is obviously in that top four, you obviously get that Champions League money, which is huge revenue for the next season. And that's what the Glazers are targeting and what they care about. And if you look, City, Chelsea, and Liverpool are way in front of United. So essentially, there's one place left, and that's going to be between Arsenal, Leicester, Tottenham, United. So you've got like 4-5 teams that could feasibly go there. I mean, West Ham, if they carry on winning and they get to sort of like January, they could be in with a very good shout of actually picking that fourth spot up. But the point is that United need that Champions League money. United is £600 million in debt. They pay around £25 million of interest payments per year. They pay around £25 million of dividends per year. The Glazers want that money. So I think that's why they've called time on him. And to be fair, the performances have been shockingly bad. And I said in the summer that Solskjaer's going to be in big trouble because this midfield is just substandard. And people think Fernandes and Pogba are midfielders. They're not. They're attacking midfielders. I'm talking about players that that are multifunctional, who can play in the 6 and the 8 position, who can actually move the ball and can actually defend and actually are tactically aware. United have got 3 midfielders, McTominay, Fred and Matic. Matic 5 years ago was actually world class. He was a brilliant player, but he's old now. And then you've got Fred and McTominay. McTominay has had the worst run of form I've seen since he's come into the first team. He's been atrocious. He's been absolutely atrocious. And statistically speaking, him and Fred are not playmakers. They're not deep-lying playmakers. They can't get hold of the ball. And Maguire's come in for some big criticism, and in no way am I defending him. But one of the biggest tools that you can use defensively is to retain possession. If you can retain possession as a team, then that's a defensive tool, because the opposition basically can't score, and it's as simple as that, really. So anyway, let's have a look at the chat. So No Name are asking, who do you think should be the next long-term manager? Will morale impact the players going forward? Well, it's actually really difficult to say who the long-term manager is, because I think there's a fundamental issue with the club and in terms of how the club's being managed. So it looks like it'll be Zidane. I don't know if Zidane can speak English, if he even wants the job. And obviously, outside of that, you're probably saying like Ten Hag is the best manager to go for. But if you look at it, then United had Van Gaal, a possession-based coach, and the fans didn't like it. So Ten Hag is also a possession-based coach in the mold of Johan Cruyff and, playing like a 4-3-3 system. Ten Hag would be probably my choice, but you have to give him about 3 or 4 years to change the culture of the club. And you also have to buy all the players that he wants. And if you're not going to do that, then the manager's going to fail. Do you think that David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho and Solskjaer are all rubbish managers? No, they're not. They're all like Van Gaal. Van Gaal's a top-class manager. Van Gaal is one of the most influential managers in world football because of how he plays and the influence he had upon Barcelona and the influence he had upon, in Holland, and what he did with the Ajax youth team and what he did with Bayern Munich and stuff. So if Van Gaal's going to fail, then it's not only the manager. You need to have a director of football. You need to have the right players, and you need to decide how you want to play. Do you want to play a possession-based style or not? Do you want to press? Do you want to counter press? You need to make that decision, so you buy the players that will fit into that system. So morale, yeah, the players, but also like Solskjaer's been sacked, but the players have been woeful. Like Shaw, Maguire, Bruno, McTominay, they've been atrocious. They've not just been bad, they've been horrendously bad. And their performance levels, like Maguire away to Atalanta, that was one of the worst displays I've ever seen. When Varane went off injured, Maguire's performance level has been shocking. And they need to take a look in the mirror and they need to deliver better performances. So, yeah, their morale will be low because losing causes a drop in confidence, but they need to somehow find a solution. So we've got another comment. It was so bad second half. It was a totally different game. If Maguire didn't receive a red, it wouldn't 100% be a different outcome. They were pushing towards the goal all the time. Yeah, that's true. Well, again, though, like there has been some very poor starts to games by United. And to be fair, you can put that down there to a selection mistake. So you can blame Ole for that, because Van der Beek should have come into this team weeks ago. Because if you have players in the center of the park that can't pass the ball, then you basically have got a problem. You need to go long ball. Van der Beek picked up the ball today, picked up the ball yesterday, and he basically put his head up and he passed the ball to Ronaldo. And Ronaldo, Bruno, they had chances. And you're right, if Maguire stays on, United probably win that match. So that selection mistake is on Solskjaer. So I understand also why he doesn't play Van der Beek, because of the defensive side of it. But United have needed to find some type of tactical solution in the midfield all season. Regardless of the results, the the actual style of play, the performance level has been abysmal. And really, yeah, they probably would have won, but he still doesn't master performances. So we've got another comment. And all the United England internationals look traumatized by losing the European Cup. I don't know, bro. Maybe it's still in their heads. I agree with that. I feel like it's not even trauma, man. I think it's like they have believed the hype. Maguire and Shaw believed that they were the best left back and best centre back in the world. You had all these Shawberto Carlos memes, if you remember, saying that he was the new Roberto Carlos. And sometimes players can't handle it. Sometimes players believe the hype. Players think that, oh, I've made it. I'm the best player in the world. I'm the best centre back, and then they just drop 2%, 1%. And in elite level sport, 1%, 2% is the difference. And those players, McTominay included, Bruno, they've all come back and they've been abysmal. Like, you can blame the manager all you want, but when the players step over the white line, they've been abysmal. Like Aston Villa. Everton played us off the park, by the way. We were lucky to draw against Everton, if you cast your mind back. And that comes from player performance. It's not just tactics. So I wanted Ole to stay, and I would have given him to the end of the season. But there's also some valid criticisms of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like, for example, last week, he gave the players like 5, 6, 7 days off. He shouldn't have done that. That was a major error. When you're fighting for your job and fighting to actually try and establish some form, the players should have been training twice a week, twice per day. Sorry, and the players should have been trying to get some type of system together. Because I will tell you this now. You can clip me up, and you've got this recorded. Once Varane comes back, United's form will go up. And if they can buy a midfielder in January, United's form will go up. So a new manager may be very lucky because he's got the embryonics of a very good team that Solskjaer has actually put together. And actually, United are not. It feels now like United are like light years away from City. They were when Mourinho left, and you can call me crazy, but we're very close. If you were to add a De Jong into that midfield, or a Rice, or a Verratti, into one of those two into that midfield, and you added some more cover at centre-back, and you were able to drop people like Maguire and maybe an attacking right-back, United would be dangerous. And actually, it's well and truly possible, And this is actually one of the rumours I'm hearing. I have a few friends that are pretty well connected, and they're telling me that United's strategy is to get to the summer, get Ten Hag, and then Ten Hag can bring De Jong with him. Barcelona are in major financial troubles, and they basically want to bring someone like De Jong, a playmaker that can move the ball. And I'd be all for that. I think that, according to rumours, Ten Hag is like rebuffed Bayern Munich. He doesn't want to leave like mid-season ever. He wants to like leave at the end of the season after he's done his full season with Ajax, and I completely understand that. Let's have a look. Any predictions for the next game? Villarreal, massive game. Next game, Villarreal. It's probably the biggest game of the season for United. Like, if you lose that, and we've got young boys at home. I've got a ticket for that. Young boys at home. Then you're potentially out of the Champions League. So I have no idea. With this United team, I have no idea. This United team could probably go and beat Villarreal 3-0, but it can also lose 3-0. There's just very difficult to call. Another comment, they should play Donny, buy De Jong, play Donny and De Jong, Bruno up front. Yeah, why not? I mean, like, for me, the biggest, like, the defense has been criticized, right? Maguire's been abysmal. Shaw's been abysmal. Wan-Bissaka wasn't good yesterday. The only member of the defense that's been good is Varane. He's been injured, and then De Gea. They're the only two that have got any credit. But you have to understand that in football, if you can keep possession and if you can move the ball and control the games and control the opposition's momentum, you win matches. It's a fact. And United are never in control of the games. And that's not coaching. That's not coaching. That's personnel. You need to go into the transfer market and buy players that can play. You need to have players who can actually pass the ball and move the ball around the pitch. And if you don't have those type of players, then your defense is going to come under pressure all the time. And where your defense comes under pressure, it's on them. They look isolated. And really, United need to buy 2 midfield players, not one. They need to buy 2 midfield players who can actually keep the ball, close space, and actually control possession and push United up the pitch, because United's front players are probably amongst some of the best in the world. And we've got some great young players, and we've got the basis of a really, really, really good team there. It just needs to be tweaked. Like, people need to understand that, like, a football team is like a jigsaw puzzle. You can have 8 of the players, 9 of the players, but it's not enough. You need to have all the 11 players. Then you need to have the squad behind them. And one piece of the jigsaw can be the difference between finishing 1st and 6th. And United have got major weaknesses in the team. And actually, you're only as strong as the weakest part of your team. Right? So you can have the best player of all time, Ronaldo, you can have Sancho, you can have all these players, Rashford, but you're only as strong as the weakest bit of the team. So you need to upgrade the team, the squad. Like, United have got a massive squad. I listed 11 players you could sell quite easily. You could, okay, let's go through them. So Jones, Bailly, Lindelof, Matic, Fred, Mata, Lingard, Pogba, Martial. You could probably make a case for selling Henderson if he doesn't want to stay there. So there's 10 players I've just thought of. You could easily sell all those players and then pick up 4 or 5 new players, and then you would challenge. You know, like, you need to look in that midfield and pick up a De Jong, pick up a Verratti, pick up someone that can actually play make. And you need to go and, like, the only midfield player that probably should stay is McTominay, and even he's lucky to stay, because Fred and Matic can't do it. They're not good enough. And even McTominay shouldn't be a starter for Manchester United. If you want to win the league, he shouldn't be a starter for Manchester United. But he is, because of the lack of quality elsewhere. So the new manager actually is very close, but yet so far away. Because if you look at it on paper, and if you look at some of the ages of United's front players, Rashford, Sancho, Ahmad, Greenwood, you know, United have got a wealth of very, very, very good, potentially elite young players. You got Bruno behind that. You know, you've got good players like Shaw and Maguire haven't become bad players overnight. They're still good players. They just need to have pressure on them. You know, you need to go out and buy someone like Jules Koundé and not just have 2 first-choice centre-backs. You need to have 3 or 4 first-choice centre-backs. Man City have got 4 first-choice centre-backs, and only 2 of them play. They've got 5 or 6 first-choice midfield players. United don't. United have got a first-choice player there, whatever, like, say, Wan-Bissaka, and then they've got someone way below, like a Dalot. So the level of the squad has to come up. And Ole's done a good job to actually cleanse the squad of a lot of the dead wood, but there's still about 8, 9, 10, 11 players there that shouldn't be there. United don't have any bad players. Make no mistake about it. United don't. People say, oh, so-and-so is a bad player. They don't have any bad players, because all the players are internationals and top players. But it's not about whether they're bad players. It's about whether they're elite and also whether they fit in the system. So if you look at someone like Martial, United need to sell him because he's not going to play. He doesn't fit in the system. If you look at Bruno, he needs to stay. If you look at Pogba, Pogba's world class, but he doesn't fit in the system. If you get rid of him, you clear his wages from the wage bill, and you can move on and buy someone that fits into your system, fits into the style of play and how you want to play. And that's why you need a director of football. That's why the Glazers, they don't understand football. There's a famous story, and I've said it a few times, that when Ed Woodward completed the deal to sign Bastian Schweinsteiger from Bayern Munich, he said to someone, and bear in mind, Ed Woodward's a massive rugby fan. He knows nothing about football, massive rugby fan. He said, oh, you wait till the opposition see Bastian Schweinsteiger in our team. They're going to be scared. Now, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Bayern Munich don't sell anyone who they don't want to sell. They sold him because he was injured and he was past it. And that's basically an anecdote for how poorly ran Manchester United are, and that says it all. Someone's put, who put the ball in the Germans' net? Who put the ball in the Germans' net? Who put the ball in the Germans' net? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I still love Solskjaer. I don't care what anyone says. He's a legend. He's done more for the club than all those players put together. There's very few people who are walking the earth who've done more for Manchester United than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I never boo him, ever. Got another comment. Till, how old you think Varane will play and how long is the contract? Do you know, bro? And you're right about everything. You should be the new manager for real. Yes, man. Thank you. I'll take that, bro. I'm the new manager. Forget Carrick and all those cunts. I'm the new manager. Yeah, Varane. Well, it's actually a really good question. With modern science now, with modern medical science, players, people think historically 30 is old, but it shouldn't be old if they've taken care of themselves, if they've had the right diet, if they've done yoga, stretched. His contract was 4 years, I believe, and he's now 28. So Varane should be there, but it is worrying that he's signed for United and he's been injured twice now. So that, it is a little bit worrying that that's happened. But these things happen. Hopefully he can come back fit and he can play. But he did initially get injured on international duty, so maybe he was rushed back due to the pressure that Solskjaer was under, which obviously isn't a good thing. But he needs to come back. He's been a calming influence. If you look at the difference between the start of the game against Atalanta and then when he went off, United were extremely lucky to get a 2-2 draw away to Atalanta. And he's a Rolls Royce of a player. He really, Varane is a Rolls Royce of a centre back. He's got everything. He's fast. He's technical. He's great in the air. He's an organizer. Maguire needs him. Lindelof and Maguire is not a good enough partnership. United got second in the league last season with Lindelof and Maguire, and I think that's the level. That's their maximum they can do. And you need Varane to get fit. A new manager will be lucky if Varane comes back. You get a bit of stability. You can buy some players in January. A new manager will be pretty lucky to actually come in. But the fundamental issue is this: United need to decide this. United need to answer this question: in the next 10 years, how are we going to play? What style of play for the next 10 years, right? Because let's work through. You had Moyes. Moyes came. He's a defensive manager. British manager, he'd been at Everton 11 years. He basically played one up front. He bought Fellaini, okay, and he bought Juan Mata in the January. Then he got sacked, right? So you had an aging squad. He left after 7 months. Wasn't really his fault. Not enough time, but he bought Fellaini. Fellaini wasn't a Manchester United player. Fellaini was a good player. I love Fellaini, and I think that I respect his effort, but he wasn't a United player. Then, from Moyes, they went to Van Gaal. Van Gaal is a possession-based manager. Moyes and Van Gaal couldn't be more different. They're completely night and day. And the type of player that Van Gaal signed, like Blind, he played Blind at centre-back. Blind's not 6 foot, I don't think. He plays technical football. He wants to keep the ball, and he wants to move the ball. And so he bought players for that system. And then after 2 years, after winning the FA Cup, they got Mourinho. Mourinho actually is the complete opposite to Van Gaal. Mourinho wants the opposition to have the ball, will play a low block, doesn't mind giving up possession. So you've gone from a defensive manager in Moyes, British style, to a Barcelona sort of possession-based Dutch style in Van Gaal. Then you've gone to a manager that plays a low block, wants to sign players that are over 6 foot tall, have physical players, and doesn't mind the opposition having control of the ball with Mourinho. And then Mourinho goes, and then you have Solskjaer, who's a counter-attacking manager. So basically, the Glazers may have spent this money, but they've wasted it because you need players who are going to play in a system and who basically are going to be able to play a style of play consistently, to say in the next 10 years, we're going to play a possession-based style. In the next 10 years, we're going to play an attacking style. We're going to play a 4-3-3. We're going to play a 5-3-2. Whatever you decide, that will help you. But United have no overarching philosophy anymore. Sir Alex Ferguson was the director of football and the manager. He did both. Him and David Gill did transfers, and he decided the style of play and how United were going to play. It's not there anymore. You know, oh, Squeedo, what's up, bro? Hey, Squeedo, thanks for joining us. But United don't have that philosophy. And the philosophy is a bit of a like, oh, you need a philosophy. But you kind of do need a philosophy. You kind of do need a philosophy in terms of what like you want to do, you know, in terms of your style of play. Just 1 second. I'm going to come back in 1 sec. Sorry, guys. My battery was running low. I had to turn my charger on there at the wall. Yeah, so as I was saying, so United need to decide. So if they want to be a possession-based team and you're going to get someone like Ten Hag in, then basically you need to decide who's going to manage after Ten Hag, right? And you need to decide. So you need to look at all the coaches in the world and say, we play a 4-3-3 system. We play a certain style. Our youth team, our under 10s, our under 15s, our reserves are all going to play in this same style of play. And if they play in this same style of play, then they're essentially going to mean that when you change managers, there's not this issue with trying to sell 15 players, because there's still 10 players at United that shouldn't be there. And the new manager is going to try and clear them out. Do you think a new manager is going to come in and play Phil Jones? Do you think they're going to come in and keep Matic and give him another 3-year contract? And when you decide your philosophy, which should come from a director of football or someone who's overlooking, like have an overarching philosophy, like City have got, you then will be able to make the right decisions. Now, Guardiola, like I hate to talk about City on this channel, but Guardiola's going to leave in like 15 months. He's going to leave at the end of next season. City have got a style of play. They would never in any world hire Conte, or they will never in any way go and hire someone who is going to play a direct style of play. They'll probably go and try and hire Brendan Rodgers, or they'll probably go and try and hire maybe someone better than Brendan Rodgers, Graham Potter, who plays a possession-based style. So their players, if once Pep goes, obviously Pep's a great manager, there's no doubt, their players will be managed by another manager that plays that style of play. Now, there might be a 5% tweak. There might be a manager that Pep may press like this. They may tweak it slightly. They may buy a striker and play some more direct balls, or they might do, but they're basically going to play exactly the same way. And United don't have that. And I was doing a podcast with Ryan from In the Red, and he made a really good point about United's shortlist. About 3 weeks ago, there was a shortlist. Ole's been sacked for weeks, obviously. He's just officially happened now. But there was a shortlist. And on the shortlist was Brendan Rodgers, Antonio Conte, Zinedine Zidane, and someone else. And he pointed out that every single one of those managers had a completely different style of play. So not only are you going to move styles of play from Solskjaer to the new manager, the shortlist was completely different. And this is why you need people with football knowledge to actually have a strategy. But the Glaziers, it looks like Joel Glazier is in charge. He's a Man United fan, allegedly, but he doesn't know anything about football. He doesn't actually understand. He thinks that, wow, Ronaldo's the best player ever. Why aren't you winning? Wow, Varane's won the World Cup. Why aren't you winning? Wow, Pogba's won the World Cup. Why isn't he playing well? This is how they think. This is the equivalent of me running a baseball team. I have no idea about baseball. So I know some star names, but that's it. Like a football team is like a jigsaw, and it's not only the team, it's the 22 players who are all playing this same system and are all comfortable playing this system. And now you change again. But this is the fundamental question for Man United to actually look at. But This is it. This is the end of things, and we need to be hopeful. But this season is unraveling. And if you get knocked out of the Champions League and you're struggling to get to top four, this is going to be another 6-month period of really disappointing period. So in a way, we need to save this season. Like forget the manager. The players need to start winning. And you can say what you want. Like I've heard a lot of stuff saying, "Oh, Ollie's got no tactics." Finished second last season, right? We finished second last season. Should have won the Europa League. Pretty unlucky. But this isn't all on Ollie. This is on, in a way, the players as well. The players have to look in the mirror and take a little bit of responsibility, and they need to actually look at their performance level. There's quite a lot of, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I hate the apology. Like people saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, we've lost." It's like, just fuck off. Like, stop saying sorry. Train harder, run harder. United's running stats are bad, and when like a manager can demotivate the team, but these players, to avoid sounding like Roy Keane, have down tools before. Like, don't forget that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has won the Champions League and the league with United. None of these players, apart from De Gea, have won the league with United. So my loyalty lies to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, right? And a lot of them aren't as good as we think they are. And another big issue, I'm almost 40 years of age. I grew up in the 1990s where Liverpool fans were every year were telling me at school, "Yeah, we're amazing. We're going to be amazing this season. We're going to win." We're now, as Man United fans, falling into the trap of Liverpool fans in the 1990s. We're falling in the trap of believing the hype about our players. We need to stand back and understand that, number one, the club's not run properly. Number two, we owe 600 million quid in debt. Number three, some of the players are overhyped. Some of the players are really overhyped players. Now, I'm not saying that they're bad players, but like Liverpool haven't had bad players for 30 years, but they've not won the league, you know? And, in the 90s. So we need to not get in that trap of thinking that, wow, all our players are amazing. They're not. So we've got a comment. Villarreal game is super important. Just need to be strong in the Champions League and try to pick it back up in the Premier League. But the midfield too are not working. If there were small changes, there would be big differences. I agree. The new manager could be the luckiest person in the world because he can come in, he might be able to buy 2 or 3 players and look like a genius. So Ollie's got a basis of a very, very, very good team. And really, if you can find a solution to that midfield, because if you delve into the stats a bit closer, you'll see that United's forward players only have the ball less than 10% of the game, right? So 90% of the game, the ball is somewhere else. So United's strongest position, their attacking midfielders, only has the ball 10% of the game, right? Because the midfield and the defense have an inability to transfer the ball from the defense, from the middle of the park to the forwards. If you could find a solution that shows you how to transfer the ball into attacking areas, United will destroy teams. Like, make no mistake about it. Rashford, Sancho, class. Bruno's not become a bad player, but the ball's not being transferred into those areas. And that's why they've persisted in playing Pogba as a number 8 to try and, because Matic can do it a little bit, but like McTominay and Fred cannot quarterback the team forward. They can't get the ball like a Scholes, like an Iniesta, like a Verratti, like a De Jong, and say, "Give me the ball." Take the ball from the back 4 and pass the ball into attacking areas. They can't do it. Fred and McTominay run all day. They try hard. I don't want to criticize them, but they don't have the technical ability to actually move the ball through the final thirds. And that's United. If any manager who can find a solution to that issue, United will start to win games. And then controlling possession and also tightening up the defense. But if you feed Ronaldo with chances, right, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science, right? Ronaldo's going to score. If you can keep clean sheets, right? I don't want to simplify things, but if you keep clean sheets and you feed chances to Ronaldo, Ronaldo's going to score. You're going to win matches. It's as simple as that. Let's have a look at the comments. Yes, this is one of the best teams in the world on paper, next to PSG, Bayern, and Liverpool. I agree. I just think the midfield just needs tweaking. If you had, right, I've calculated 11 players that United could sell. If you were to pick up either Bellingham, Rice, De Jong, two of those 3 or 4 midfielders, pick up a right back, you're sorted. And maybe another defender like a Kunde to put some pressure on Maguire, then you're sorted. You're fine. Reggie Anthony, hi Reggie. Man United lost the manager they could have signed, Antonio Conte. Well, yeah, exactly. If they wanted Conte, then they should have got him. He's at Spurs. The one thing I will say about Conte, well, there's 2 things I'll say about Conte. Number one, he's on an 18-month contract. So essentially, if United did want him in the summer, they'd have to pay out 1 year, which is probably won't be a lot of money to get him out of Spurs. The other thing I'll say about Conte is that you can't deny he's a winner, but style-wise, he'd fundamentally change how United play. And if you look at United's squad, the wingers, most of the strengths they have, Conte won't really use those strengths because he plays with wing backs and plays 3 central defenders. United don't really have wing backs. So really, Conte would have, the rumor, Reggie, if you believe the rumor mill, is that Conte said, I'll come to United, but you've got to give me £250 million. And they said no. So I like Conte. I think he's got balls. I think he's got steel. I think he'll improve Tottenham. But yeah, I don't know. They obviously didn't fancy paying out £250 million in transfer fees. But you can't say that Conte is not a winner. You know, he's done it in Italy. People said he's only done it with Juventus, but to come to England and to do it with Chelsea and then obviously to do it with Inter Milan as well. He's a demanding manager. I also feel like the Glaziers can't handle demanding managers. You look at what happened with Mourinho. United gave Mourinho a 3-year contract in January, right? They didn't buy him a centre-back in the summer or 2 centre-backs. By December, he was sacked. United had to pay out like £25 million because publicly, he challenged the club and said, hey, I took you to second. Now I want to push on. And Conte is probably worse than Mourinho for that because Conte is a winner and he demands excellence. And I welcome that. But United's board and the ownership of United don't demand excellence. They demand the dividends and the money that they're going to extract from the club. And yeah, I would have been fine with Conte, but style of play, I don't know. I think that he's a very pragmatic manager, and I think that he would have jettisoned quite a lot of players. And you have to also understand that the ownership of Manchester United see the players the same way a farmer sees a cow or sees a tractor. On a piece of paper, it's an asset, and anything that affects the value of their assets, they're not happy about. Hence why they're trying to re-sign Paul Pogba. Pogba doesn't want to be at United. He's wanted to leave for a while. They should have sold him a long time ago, but they see the players as assets. That's why they gave Phil Jones a 4-year contract. Yes, a 4-year contract. That's why they gave Marcus Rojo a 4-year contract, because they see the players as assets on a balance sheet. And that obviously feeds into a fundamental problem that United have with the ownership and with how the club's ran. So for me, the biggest appointment is going to be a director of football. And when I say a director of football, Phil Bloody Jones, exactly. Phil Bloody Jones, 4-year contract. Johnny's just put a comment there, Phil Jones. I mean, to be honest with you, like, he's been there, I think he's been there 10 years. He's due a testimonial, and it's like, I'm not blaming Phil Jones. If someone offered me like a 4-year contract, you'd take it. If someone came in your workplace and offered you crazy money, you'd sign the contract. So it's not his fault, but it just shows that United don't have that director of football, that philosophy. And actually, I'm not like, listen, I love Solskjaer, I love Darren Fletcher, I love all the old United players, but it's not about installing one of the old players. And actually, there's more parallels with Liverpool because they had the boot room. If you remember, when Dalglish left after they won their last league, I think it was 1990 or 89, they then only hired managers from the boot room like Roy Evans, and they had all their assistant managers were like Ronnie Moran, and United are making that mistake again. And the reason why the Glazers are doing it is because they don't want any protests against them. But essentially, you need to find someone in the world that's best in class. Gary Neville says best in class, and I agree with that. But in order to find best in class, you need to give them power. And in order to give them power, you have to relinquish power. So people like Joel Glazier, Richard Arnold, Ed Woodward are making footballing decisions. They don't know anything about football. I assure you, they don't know anything about football. You need to find someone like a Luis Campos or someone like that and say, right, here's the budget. You decide. It's on you. But they won't. They interfere. Johnny's just said his missus wouldn't even turn up to the testimonial. Well, we shouldn't laugh, actually, because Phil Jones did come out and said it has really affected his mental health. But to be honest with you, he should have left a year ago. He should want to play football, but he's been injured quite a bit. But yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, let's wrap it up there. I appreciate all the comments in the comments section. Obviously, we're going to get some more information in the coming hours and coming days on, United strategy with finding an interim manager. Carrick's going to be in charge for the game on Tuesday. The game's only on Tuesday, actually, against Villarreal. So, it's going to it'll be interesting to see who United go for in the summer. The rumour is Zidane. Let's have a look. We've got one more comment here. Bailey should play for Lindelof when Varane is not able to play. Van der Beek for McTominay, Fred. Yeah, absolutely. I think Bailly's been unlucky to not play. I think Lindelof and Maguire have been very lucky to play this amount of games. Like Bailly's been punished because he scored an own goal against City. It happens. I'm not saying he's the best defender in the world, but at least he gives everything. And for me, if you want to transfer the ball into attacking areas, you cannot play Fred and McTominay and Matic. You can't do it. If you want to play through the thirds, you need Van der Beek, or you need to go into the transfer market. It's that simple. But anyway, let's wrap it up there. Let's say, let me just, sorry, we've got one more comment here. It happened, bro. Shouldn't have been burnt by the own. Yeah, absolutely. Like the own goal was just one of those things. Anyone can score an own goal. I wouldn't have taken him off, but hey ho. Lazy EJ said, has Carrick got a full coaching badge? How can he steer his ship when he's also part of the problem? Job for the boys. Well, this is it. This is the fundamental issue with Manchester United. There are a bit of job for the boys. I know for a fact that Rio Ferdinand was interviewed for the director of football. What experience does he have as a director of football? A little bit of me thinks that this has been a reaction against Mourinho. I think Mourinho scared them because Mourinho got him to second, won the Europa, and then he said, hey, I want another 200 million quid, and it scared them. And has Carrick got full coaching badges? I don't know the answer to that question. I really don't know the answer. I know that Kieran McKenna is highly rated, but I also, if you believe some of the rumours, and as I say, like we've got a few connections at the club. To be fair, some of the players aren't really happy with the standard of coaching. If you believe that rumour, there's been consternation about how they've been coached, how they've been set up, and yeah, it doesn't appear to be a change, does it, Lazy? It's just like Carrick's part of the problem and he's going to take over. You may as well have kept Solskjaer or just tried to get like an interim. I mean, I know that there are people like Ralph Rangnick who are available who could step in, and there's obviously like anyone would take the job. It's just, yeah, it is a bit weird. Carrick, Fletcher, Murtagh is there, and like one thing I will say, final thing I will say is that like it's really unclear at United who's buying the players. And I'm not making excuses for Solskjaer. I'm not making excuses, but like it's really unclear how they're buying players. And there was a very bizarre story when they bought Aaron Wan-Bissaka. They said that they had 300 potential targets that their data analysts had generated. And it's like, what are you talking about? They had 300 potential targets and they whittled it down to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. They paid £50 million for him. And you didn't need any data analysts to say that he was obviously like a decent player. They overpaid for him, and he's a good player. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's a massive improvement upon Valencia and the previous right backs. But it's just, this is the major worry, that you've got jobs for the boys, you've got kind of people living in the past, right? Obviously, we all grew up United winning everything and we love Sir Alex, but like the club needs to move on. The club needs a director of football. The club needs to actually have a style of play and analyze how they want to be and try to make this club elite. But with the Glazers there, I'm not sure you can be. But anyway, guys, thanks a lot for joining me. I've tried to keep it upbeat. I'm still upset about yesterday. I know that you guys are as well, and it was painful. That first half was painful. So, yeah, we need to just keep the hope, keep the faith, and we'll have to see what's going to happen against Villarreal. It's a 5:30 kickoff on Tuesday. United need to avoid defeat. Biggest game of the season so far. So, yeah, thanks a lot for joining me. Thank you for the likes. There's only 3 likes on the video. If you could like the video, that'd help. Or one final comment: Liverpool got rid of the old boot room boys and reinvented themselves. Yeah, spot on, Lazy. That's exactly what United need to do. They need to just reinvent themselves. Football, like everything, moves on. You need to move with the times, or else you get left behind. You need to try and have the best in class. So simple as that. Have a nice day to yourself as well, my friend. Have a nice day, everybody. Enjoy your Sunday, whatever you're going to do with your friends, family, or watching football. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Thank you.